Hey, Edgar here, the host of Snug Wrestling. Are you tired of your flimsy sunglasses that look just like everyone else's? Well, check out our friends from Aquila. These are handcrafted, limited run frames made in Los Angeles using recycled materials and built to last and look clean. They got UV protection, blue light options, and even prescription lenses. Plus, Aquila gives back 1% of every sale that goes to environmental causes. And because you listen to Snug Wrestling, you get 10% off with code SNUG at checkout. Just head to aquila.la and upgrade your eyewear responsibly. That's aquila.la, A-K-I-L-A.la. Save 10% off with promo code SNUG.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Snug Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
What's going on, everybody? Happy April Fool's Day. Welcome to the Snug Wrestling Podcast. It is April 1st, and we're going to be going over NXT, the go-home show for the next PLE Stand and Deliver, and which means we're also going to be doing predictions for Stand and Deliver after this review on this episode. So welcome, everyone. If you're new, thank you for being with us. We're the Snug Wrestling Podcast. My name is Edgar. I'm the host. Tommy is here with me. We go over wrestling stuff. We do reviews, predictions, lots of wrestling content. So, you know, if you're watching this live, join us in the comments. You can also catch the shows on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube after they go live on air. You know, if you rather listen to them on the road or while you're working or wherever, whenever you listen to podcasts. But how was your April Fool's Day today, Tommy?
It was good. Mainly just spent it with a couple friends of mine along with my girlfriend. We actually just got back from seeing the Mario Galaxy movie. So if you're a massive Nintendo fan, go and watch that. That is a fun ride in itself. It is a quick ride, but it is a fun ride. So other than that, it's been pretty damn good.
I woke up to some of like the craziest fucking wrestling news articles on my timeline, and it took me a while to realize that it was April Fool's. Like one of them that I saw this morning was like, Chris Jericho has officially signed to WWE. And then another one was like, Vince McMahon is going to induct Stephanie McMahon into the Hall of Fame. Vince McMahon is coming back to the WWE. Did you see any crazy ones like that today?
I saw the one about Chris Jericho coming back to WWE. And then later on in the day, we find out, nope, he's sticking with AEW.
Yeah, Chris Jericho. Yeah, Chris Jericho made his return to AEW like an hour ago as we speak in his hometown of Winnipeg. And he got a huge pop, man. Chris Jericho has been gone for over a year. He comes back and everyone's really pumped and happy. And Chris Jericho says just a few words, a couple words.
I'm home.
I'm home. That's it, bro. So there you have it. So all the rumors that Chris Jericho was going to be signing to WWE, they could be true, but I mean, maybe the deal just fell through, or maybe he was under AEW contract this whole time. I don't know, but Chris Jericho did create a whole lot of buzz for himself this whole entire year, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he did. Going all over the place. Not to mention he's been on tour throughout this last year. Quite a few tours. He's got more coming up with that. So Jericho has just gone everywhere online.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Tommy, let's get started with what we're here to do, which we are actually here to talk about NXT. They were in Madison Square Garden this week, or a theater inside Madison Square Garden. Either way, they were in New York. And yeah, this is the go-home show.
They were inside of Madison Square Garden somehow.
Correct, yes. There was a lot of people here. It wasn't the average NXT crowd. There was a couple thousand, maybe like 3,000-4,000 people in this arena or theater, whatever you want to call it. And there was a couple things that were announced ahead of time to hype up this NXT. One of them being Mike Santana. Last week he said he was going to be on this episode because it's his hometown. Mike Santana's from New York, so it makes sense to have the TNA champion in this episode of NXT, and he backed up Out the Mud in a 6-man tag team match versus the DarkState. And this is the match that kicked off the show. Overall, I thought it was it was a good opener for what it was. It was cool to see the TNA champion there. The NXT fans were really happy to see Mike Santana. He got a huge pop. And Out the Mud got the rub from Mike Santana, the TNA champion, and they got the win. So overall, I thought exciting start for NXT, I thought.
Very exciting start with that. Of course, NXT is full of chaos, and more chaos. That is just how NXT has been for like a good month and a half now, maybe even longer than that. But Mike Santana being here, it only fit, especially with the fact that they needed that third person there to deal with DarkState. Surprisingly, only 3 members of DarkState was there. The full team was not there. So found that very interesting, because usually when one of them is there, the other 3 are bound to follow. But there was only 3. That being Sugars, Dion Lennox, and
Osiris.
God, I cannot remember for the life of me who in the world the third one is.
Osiris or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, that's who it was. Osiris. So shockingly, it was only those 3. But the match itself, I had a lot of fun with it. For me, at least, it did follow through with that hype that it built from last week because of Mike Santana being there. And to the surprise to literally no one, they ended up giving it to Mike Santana and Out the Mud, in which I'm completely happy with, because of the fact that really DarkState can handle a couple of losses with how much that they have been dominating through these past couple of.
So what do you think? What do you think? Is this leading to something? Because it kind of seemed random to me. Like, oh, let's just have Mike Santana join Out the Mud. Like, is there any history there with Mike Santana Out the Mud other than Mike Santana being from New York? He's a TNA champion. Do you see something coming out of this? Like maybe Dion Lennox getting a crack at Mike Santana or something? Or was this just a one-off? Did that feel like it was just a one-off to you, Tommy? What do you think?
It really didn't, especially with how DarkState reacted in a later backstage segment. Good old Dion Lennox was going absolutely insane there, going off the fact that they lost the tag titles. He let the NXT title slip through his fingers. They lost here. So Dion Lennox in himself is going absolutely insane, overthinking everything with it. So I would not be surprised if something more comes up.
Okay. We'll see what happens with that. And to hype up the pay-per-view or the PLE, which we'll be getting into after this review, Miles Bourne was having a sit-down interview, and he was interrupted by Johnny Gargano. Where Johnny Gargano, he's starting to show a little bit more fire after what they've been having him doing, which is being Johnny Depresso and just being dead on the floor and just planking all the time. He's actually starting to fire up a little bit, and Johnny Gargano told Miles Bourne, I need to win that championship. I need to become Johnny Wrestling again. And I have no other choice, because if I don't win, I don't know what's going to happen with me. So you're going to be dealing with that Johnny at Stand and Deliver. What did you think about the interview and how Johnny Gargano was, what he said?
It is not a sit down without the opponent and interrupting. Plain and simple. That's just how that was. There was one with Stephanie Vaquer not too long ago. Liv Morgan interrupted that. So there's not a single sit down interview where you can look at me and just go, hey, here's one where somebody doesn't interrupt, because it happens all the damn time. But Johnny Gargano, yes, I would say that he needs this. But as I said last week, and I will gladly say it again, I know we're doing predictions here in a bit, but I am going to full-blown say it now. Johnny Gargano is not getting that North American. There's no way. Especially with the fact that Miles Bourne basically just got it. So he's not losing it to Johnny Gargano. I'm not sure what in the world is going to happen with Johnny after this, but hopefully something during this match kind of snaps him back into place. Because holy crap, this whole Johnny Depresso shit is getting a little bit older.
All right, then we had it was the tag team match for the final to determine the number one contender of who's going to face your boys. I always forget their name, the tag team champions. What are they called? The fucking
the Vanity Project.
The Vanity Project, that's right. And it was Los Americanos versus the Birthright. And I mean, the Americanos are over, but for a final for a number one contenders match, this didn't really feel like it to me. This tag team match was kind of just whatever up until Shiloh Hill came out, and then the Americanos started cheating a little bit, and there were some distractions going. There was a lot of goofiness in this match for me at first. You know, the Americanos were dancing. They did that thing where one of them starts dancing with good old Ariana Grace, and she thinks she's dancing with her boyfriend, but it ends up being one of the Americanos, and she turns around and she's all shocked. Nobody popped for that because it's like, at this point, it's so ridiculous. You can see it coming a mile away what they were doing, right?
That card is just overplayed at this point. Like, it worked with Eddie Guerrero back in the day because that was his entire thing. But as of late, it's just been way too overplayed.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So, yeah, at first it was just like, oh, okay, can we just get this, get to the point? And I like Los Americanos, but like, there's just, I have a limit of the goofiness that I can take. There's entertaining, there's funny, and then there's goofy. Once you reach that level of goofy, it's just like, okay, let's just move on with it. But Los Americanos ended up winning this thing, right? So they're going to be going to Stand and Deliver to face the Vanity Project.
So this really felt, and I'm with you with this, it did not feel like a number one contenders match. It just felt like a regular tag match at that point. It felt like there was no stakes to it whatsoever. But Shiloh Hill, as soon as he came out, that's when I started to get more into it because of the fact that it just felt like there was nothing going on at that point. But we're getting something out of this, but I'm not sure if we'll talk about it. Are we talking about that backstage segment?
For which one?
Shiloh Hill and the French luchador and all that.
I mean, you can. I don't have any comments on it, but feel free to share what happened.
We have found out now that there's going to be a 10-man mixed tag going on. So, that being with Shiloh Hill, Hank and Tank. God, I cannot remember for the life of me who the other... not Kendall Gray, but Ren Sinclair will be there.
Eli Knight.
And then Eli Knight against the entirety of Birthright. So, we're getting that out of this, and that will be at Stand and Deliver. So, we're getting something out of this.
That match is going to be the pre-show match, though.
Yeah, but it's still going to be, like, there.
Yeah. All right, then we had a one-on-one between Jaida Parker and Kelani Jordan, in which Jaida Parker defeated Kelani Jordan.
I can tell you right now, I wish this was at Stand and Deliver. Because it being on just a random episode of NXT, it didn't feel right, especially with how much these two have been building and having problems in the back and all of that. I just seriously wish that this was at Stand and Deliver instead of here.
I mean, the only thing is Stand and Deliver is already stacked. We have, with the pre-show match, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches for Stand and Deliver already.
Then why not make it an even 8?
God damn. Usually the PLEs only have like 4 or 5.
You get that, but once again, I will say on Monday, I did miscount. Once again, it's not 11. We're currently at 12 for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So we're currently at 6 matches per card.
Yeah.
For WrestleMania.
And I think one of the reasons why they did this many matches for Stand and Deliver, because this is this not like the WrestleMania for NXT? It's like their biggest show of the year, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But 8? Yeah, bro. I don't know. I think this match was good here because it is Madison Square Garden. It's still a pretty big deal, but you don't want to overload Stand and Deliver either, you know?
Yeah, you got a point with that one.
All right. Then we had the big contract signing, which, by the way, I thought it was kind of odd that they did the contract signing in the middle of the show at the top of the hour.
Yeah, this should have been like the final segment.
That's how I was feeling a little bit, you know. No offense to the women that main evented this episode of NXT. Good on them. But I thought, man, if they just switched those two, I think it would have been a little bit better but whatever. It was Ethan Page, Joe Hendry, the NXT champion, Stones, the general manager, Ricky Saints, and Tony D'Angelo, and each one pleaded their case for this contract signing. Joe Hendry, you know, he claims that the difference between him and everyone else is desperate to become NXT champion. Joe Hendry's not desperate. He's passionate, and he's going to use that passion to defend the NXT championship, and he's going to be a fighting champion for the people, and he got a huge pop, a really, really babyface promo. He also mentioned something that we're all thinking, something that we all want to see, which is who's going to turn on who first, Ricky Saints or Ethan Page. And as much as both of these guys claim to be good friends, it's going to happen. And it's going to be good when it does, because both of these guys, Ricky and Ethan, want to become champions just as bad as the other guy, right? But the thing that really stood out to me that I loved about this whole thing, we heard from Joe, we heard from Ethan, we heard from Ricky. The only one that hasn't said anything is Tony D'Angelo. And I was kind of feeling like, okay, Tony D'Angelo, he's kind of just there. Like, everyone seems to really care about what's going on with Ricky and Ethan, Joe Hendry. What about Tony D'Angelo, right? And he says the most perfect thing ever that got me to kind of start rooting for him, Tommy, which was, I'm the only NXT bred superstar here. All three of you guys are outsiders.
Joe Hendry and TNA.
Joe Hendry came from TNA. Tony D'Angelo didn't say you guys came from AEW, but we all know where they came from.
They came from AEW, though.
They came from AEW, but Tony D'Angelo, the most quiet guy there, is the one that, if he wins it, that NXT championship is really coming home. And he has a pretty good shot. He's been going off lately. So, and of course, I think it was Tony D'Angelo himself was like, you know how these things usually end.
Like, Stone, I would suggest you get out the ring. You know how these things go.
And yeah, contract signing always ends up in a fight and someone gets put through a table, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. I'm hoping that Joe Hendry isn't too riled up right now because Ethan Page fully missed that damn table. Because Ricky Saints went all the way through when he collapsed with it. Joe Hendry missed it entirely. So I'm a little bit worried about that when it comes to Saturday because of how he would have had to land there. But it does work with, it would cause him to be a whole lot more pissed off. It really would. So that happens. I think that this will be down to Joe Hendry and Tony D'Angelo, but we'll get into the predictions.
Yeah, man, but I thought this was great, man. This is going to be one hell of a main event for Stand and Deliver. All right, up next, we have Blake Monroe, the Thief. She has stolen Tatum Paxley's North American Championship and refuses to give it back. Tatum Paxley comes out to the ring and calls out Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe comes out and she's like, "This is my championship. This is not yours. I never lost it." And everyone started chanting, "Yes, you did. Yes, you did." Because you did, Blake. You lost it to Thea Hale. 1, 2, 3. What the hell are you talking about, girl? That is not your championship. Give it back to good old Tatum Paxley. But Tatum Paxley brought up something an offer that Blake Monroe cannot refuse. You got something I want, Blake. I got something you want. And Blake Monroe's like, girl, look at me and look at you.
What do I have? What do I not have that you have for me?
You ain't got shit, girl, right? Which I thought was a great line. But Tatum Paxley, she's pretty smart with this. She's like, I have the opportunity of a lifetime for you. A match at Stand and Deliver. So you either want to be in one of your biggest matches of your career in the biggest show of NXT of the year, or you can watch it from home. You can take your ass home, or you can wrestle me at Stand and Deliver for that North American Championship. And in exchange, you give me back my title. Blake Monroe agrees. They get into a little scuffle, and then Blake Monroe still takes off with the belt anyway. So Blake Monroe gets her shot, and she still kept the title.
Yeah, so I can tell you right now, this is going to cause Tatum Paxley to go all out on Saturday. Because I know Blake Monroe will be entering with that belt because, she still has it. So she will be entering the ring with that belt, which is only going to piss off Tatum Paxley even more. In fact, I have a feeling like this match will start before the bell even rings. So that being said, with that, I do have this feeling like Tatum Paxley will put her all into this just to get back what was literally been stolen from her for the past 2 weeks.
Tommy, why didn't you tell me that I skipped Jasper Troy versus Keanu Carver?
Because I even forgot about that match.
That was a good match, though, dog. They had a nice build up to this match. I didn't forget about it. I just didn't see it on my list here. But Jasper Troy has been pretty much the only one that's willing to stand up to Keanu Carver, because as of late, Keanu Carver has been on a rampage, taking people out, taking out the referees. Even the own referees didn't want to be a part of this match. So Josh Briggs had to step in to be the special guest. And so the match started, right? And Keanu Carver starts shit-talking a fan that was ringside. He puts his hand on the fans, and that's when Jasper Troy takes advantage and puts Keanu Carver through the announce table. And this is when shit started getting crazy. Keanu Carver hits his finisher. Jasper Troy hits his finisher on Keanu Carver. Kick out 2. He gets mad at the referee for not counting fast enough, in this case, Josh Briggs. And then Josh Briggs ends up taking out Jasper Troy, leaving Keanu Carver to take advantage and get the win, thanks to Josh Briggs, the referee, basically. Overall, man, I thought this was fun. It was exciting. There were shenanigans. Keanu Carver got his hands on a quote unquote fan. He talked some shit to Booker T, which is always good. It's always fun to see that. But I love this, man. I thought this was fucking great.
Yeah, now that you've gone over it, I do agree that this was a good match. In fact, what I completely forgot about until literally just a second ago, because of the fact that we have seen so many of these things, we are getting a triple threat for Saturday. We are getting Keanu Carver versus Josh Briggs versus
Jasper Troy?
Yes, against Jasper Troy as well. So here's
I'm
my
not
question.
seeing it on this card.
They announced that tonight, unless that's for next week.
Let me check another source because I don't see it on here. Go ahead, finish.
But either way, we're getting that triple threat either next week or on Saturday. So this match is going to be insane, but my problem is they have pushed it to the point where all of the refs, every single one of them, are terrified to be in the same ring as Keanu Carver. What's going to happen with this match at that point? Y'all have pushed that, and yet now you need an actual referee for this triple threat involving Keanu Carver. So what ref is going to ref this?
Right. Yeah, I'm not seeing that for Stand and Deliver, so it's going to be next week on NXT.
Okay. It's still going to be a good match.
Yeah, for sure. But that is a good point. Who's going to be the fucking referee for that? Who's going to want to, you know? All right, Tommy. And then we go to the main event, which again, it was a good main event after everything. Oh, what up, Marcus? Shout out to our good friend Marcus from the show. I was just on his show yesterday, going over WrestleMania 22. That was fun. We're going to be putting out some content from that. Shout out to them. So, yeah, this could have easily been switched with the contract sign in. I would have been good with that, but they decided to go with the main event for this one. And it was Kendal Gray and Lola Vice, #1 contendership, to see who's going to face JC Jane at Stand and Deliver for the Women's NXT Championship. And two baby faces here. You know, no one's really trying to cheat. This was a very, very clean wrestling match. Lola Vice is the much bigger opponent here, who was pretty much overpowering Kendal Gray. Kendal Gray was depending on the speed, but you know, the match looked good because there's not that much of a size difference. There's a lot of similarities. Lola Vice has like a real, you know, like jiu-jitsu and fucking MMA background, and we saw a lot of that in this match, which I thought was really good. But they did this weird thing where Lola Vice had Kendal Gray in the damnest fucking headlock that Kendal Gray could not get out of. And then I could have sworn I saw Kendal Gray tap out like 2 different times in this situation. Kendal Gray hits Lola Vice with a suplex and then turned it into a pin. Got a 3 count, but right before the referee counted to 3, Kendal Gray tapped out. So technically, these 2 women at the same time beat one another. There was another referee ringside who saw this, and one referee was like, Lola Vice is the winner. The other referee was like, no, Kendal tapped out, or whatever. Kendal won. So there was some confusion there, right? So overall, the match was pretty good. These women got to main event in Madison Square Garden. That was cool. And it had a pretty interesting finish, I thought. But what did you think, Tommy?
Okay, so they made our predictions a crap ton harder. So, Stone put out, as of about an hour and a half ago, the solution to the end of this episode of NXT, which is this is going to be a triple threat for the women's NXT title. It will be Lola Vice versus Kendal Gray versus JC Jane for that title. I do wish that this was switched with the contract signing, but overall the match was pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was kind of a giveaway when this happened. I mean, I kind of figured that it was going to turn into a triple threat match. We saw Shawn Michaels come out, which got a nice little pop from the crowd in New York. But yeah, that's how we ended this go-home show for Stand and Deliver. Tommy, overall, do you think this was a good go-home show for the biggest PLE of the year for NXT?
I think this was pretty good. I would honestly put it at an 8.
Fair enough. All right. Let's go prediction time. Let's see what we have to expect this weekend for Stand and Deliver. Let's start off with the main event, Tommy. The NXT Championship match between Hendry versus Ethan Page versus Ricky Saints versus Tony D'Angelo. This is probably going to be my favorite match of the night, because everything that's going on in this match with every person is very interesting. You got Hendry, who just became NXT champion after a very, very long time of trying to get it, right? Of course, the friendship between Ethan Page and Ricky Saints, how is that going to work out? Who's going to turn on who? And so on and so forth. And also Tony D'Angelo, who just came back not that long ago, but since he's been back, he's been whooping ass left and right. And he's the only NXT from the start, Tony D'Angelo has been on NXT, unlike all the other guys. So this is one of those matches where I kind of feel like anyone else winning this but Hendry, I will be really happy with. But what do you think is going to go down here, Tommy?
I think I'm going back and forth between Hendry and Tony D'Angelo. I do not think that Ethan Page will get this title, even though I would not mind another title reign. I also do not think that Ricky Saints is going to, especially with the fact that the cracks have been sewn for Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. So if I had to choose between the two, I'm going Tony D'Angelo.
Wow, okay. Yeah, man. I mean, realistically, I think Hendry has to win here because of the story of him coming, signing to NXT, and then having a few opportunities at the championship, not being successful, and he finally got it, which was not that long ago. I think if Joe Hendry loses this weekend at Stand and Deliver, he loses a lot of credibility because he just got it. Although I would love to see Ethan Page as champion, that would be cool. I love Ricky Saints. It's always good to see him as champion. And just for the fact that Tony D'Angelo would just be a badass motherfucker as NXT champion, I would like to see him win it. But I'm going to go with Joe Hendry to win this one. Hopefully I'm wrong, though. Hopefully I'm wrong. For once, you know?
Like, I just hope it's not Ethan Page, Tony D'Angelo, because of the fact that he's had 2 missions ever since he came back. One of them was to take down DarkState, in which he has. The other is for that NXT title, the one title he still has yet to hold. So I think it's going to be Tony D.
And of course, because it's a fatal 4-way match, I'm assuming that this means no disqualification and anything can happen and anyone can show up and get involved, right?
Yep.
All right. The NXT Women's Championship match. JC Jane versus Lola Vice versus Kendal Gray in a triple threat match. JC Jane has been champion multiple times this whole entire year, I feel like. I think she's been champion most of, not this year, but last year too. It's been a while, right? I think it's time for a new women's NXT champion,
this is
Tommy.
her
What
second
about you?
title reign. As much as I would love to say, push Lola Vice, I would love to say that. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that Lola Vice is getting the NXT title, unfortunately. I think at this point, as much as I hate to say it, JC Jane is going to retain. I hate to say that, but I feel like at this point, it's just going to happen. It's a triple threat, which also means no disqualifications. Fatal Influence is in play, so I'm going Jay.
You don't think Kendal Gray is ready for that spot yet, huh?
I really don't. I mean, she's been pushed all of that to high heaven. And I'm completely fine with that. She just came in. It took Joe Hendry like a year after debuting for him to get that NXT title, or at least close to a year. So I do not think that with Kendal Gray, she's quite that ready yet, because she just signed with WWE, like on NXT.
Right. No, you got a point. That's a fair point. But I think it's time for a new champion, and I think if it's going to be anyone, I think it's going to have to be Lola Vice. I think that just makes the most sense. Although you could be right. I mean, Lola Vice has a lot of stuff going on in AAA. Kendal Gray just came in. It would make sense for JC Jane to retain here, but that's not what I want to see. I want to see a new champion, even if it is Lola Vice.
I think she needs to be pulled up to the main roster and put her with her boyfriend.
All right, the NXT North American Championship match, Miles Bourne versus Johnny Gargano. My God, Miles Bourne better fucking win, or else I'm going to be so goddamn pissed off.
Miles Bourne winning is the only option for me. Because if you give it to Johnny Gargano, that just puts Miles Bourne down about 10 feet under. So I'm going with Miles Bourne here. Because if you go with Johnny Gargano, that just ruins everything you just put into Miles Bourne.
Another match that I'm not really looking forward to, the Vanity Project versus Los Americanos. Now, history would tell you that El Grande Americano is most likely going to be there, and he's most likely going to show up and try to help his boys. But I hate to say it. I think the Vanity Project is going to win here. Both of these teams are technically heel teams, even though the Americanos are getting heavily cheered. And they're both cheaters. So, yeah, I think the Vanity Project is gonna steal this one.
I hate to say it because I despise the Vanity Project. I really do. I hate them so much. But I feel like the NXT tag titles needs to stay on NXT instead of going up to the main roster, in which that is where Los Americanos is. they are up on main roster TV. So I'm going with the Vanity Project just because of that.
Fair enough. The NXT Women's North American Championship, Tatum Paxley versus Blake Monroe. This is going to be a good match, dude. This is a little bit unpredictable, isn't it? These are both good wrestlers, both been pushed heavily. You know, Blake Monroe, the way that she lost it doesn't really feel like she really lost it for real, you know? This is going to be a good match, but Tatum Paxley just won it. You know, she's defended it versus Izzy Dame, the big steel cage match. I think Tatum Paxley has a lot more momentum going into this match, so I'm going to go with your girl, Tatum Paxley, to retain.
I'm also going with Tatum because I said it during the actual review itself. This is going to drive Tatum Paxley absolutely insane, which is going to push her even more.
Okay. Oh, this one right here. Another match that I'm really looking forward to a whole lot. Zarya versus Sol Ruka. Now, the last time we saw these two face-to-face, Zarya got the crowd behind her. That NXT audience was cheering for Zarya and booing Sol Ruka. Finally, the world is starting to see what I'm seeing, is that Sol Ruka fucking sucks. So I'm going to go with Zarya to win this one. Hopefully.
And this is where we divide. I'm going Sol. I really am. I do get where both sides are coming from with this, and I get that the crowd is behind Zarya 100% right. They really are. But at the same time, you dare disrespect Sol Ruka. I'm going Sol Ruka.
I mean, it's pretty obvious who the favorite is here, Tommy. And for once, what do you always like to say to me? You're in the minority, Edgar. You're wrong. Guess what, Tommy? Zarya's going to win this weekend at Stand and Deliver. Are you willing to bet? Are you willing to bet, Tommy?
I'm not willing to put a bet on it. I am not willing to put a bet on it, no. But I am sticking with my guns with Sol Ruka.
It's going to be a good match, man. I'm really hyped for that one. And let's not forget who's going to be there in St. Louis for NXT Stand and Deliver. Your favorite rapper, Tommy.
Sexy Red will be there. Yeah, she's not. She is Booker T's favorite rapper. That's whose favorite rapper she is. I'm an Eminem guy myself.
Yeah, I forgot you're from Illinois. You're from over there too, over by 8 Mile Road over there or something, right? Do you think Sexy Red is gonna bless us with one of her fabulous rap songs that everyone loves?
I hope not. I really don't. As much as I love Booker T, and I do, knowing him, if she does do a performance of any sort, all we will hear is Booker T the entire time.
Oh, God. But yes, that's what we got looking forward to this weekend. I'm probably looking forward to 1, 2 matches, maybe 3. I think Tatum Paxley versus Blake Monroe is going to be good. So yeah, 3 out of the 7 matches, the other ones, but still, should be fun, right?
Oh yeah, the show itself should be fun.
Well,
hopefully.
With that being said, Tommy, that was the NXT review and Stand and Deliver predictions with the Snug Wrestling crew. Once again, if you're new, thanks for hanging out with us, and be sure to leave a star rating and a review. Follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and let's get the fuck up out of here.
All right, so you can catch us every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and that one-on-one on Thursdays with our glorious leader, Snug, here, and Mr. Blood on top of that on TikTok Live, where they go through relevant and current wrestling topics. Also, you can get your merch as well. We've got hats, shirts, socks, shorts, you name it, we've probably got it at this point. Got this as well. So, that was one time for the one time, and that will be at teepublic.com/snug_wrestling. I repeat, that is teepublic.com/snug_wrestling. So that was one time for the one time. 4 letters, 1 word.